This is Energy Perspectives, a weekly podcast produced in Guyana that delves into the developments unfolding in the world's fastest growing economy.
Hi there. I am Kiana Wilberg, CEO of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo, and we're coming to you from day 3 of this incredible event that's happening from February 18th to the 21st, 2025 at the Georgetown Marriott Hotel. At this conference, we have seen a number of incredible speakers, and one that we have had the privilege of hosting is Dr. Vernon Paltoo, President of National Energy. Sir, welcome to our program. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Kiana. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. I'll jump straight into my questions. Sure. Dr. Paltoo, National Energy Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago Limited has been a sponsor of the Guyana Energy Conference. In fact, this is your 3rd year as a sponsor. Can you share with us your thoughts on the importance of the partnership between our two entities, and how have you leveraged the experience to date?
So, Kiana, I think you hit upon a very critical word there, partnership. Right? So, for us, it has always been about partnership. So, this conference for us, as you correctly said, is a 3rd year of our sponsorship. And it has been, from our perspective, very successful in terms of building those partnerships, both at a state government-to-government level and a private sector level. So it has benefited us in terms of opening new horizons, understanding the landscape of the Guyana energy industry better, and more importantly, seeing how best we can work together for the mutual benefit of both countries in terms of supporting Guyana's energy industry development as best as we can.
Excellent. Now, you spoke about the importance of, or alluded rather to the importance of, sharing that experience with Guyana. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago has been a legacy producer, so much to learn from this beautiful nation. But how would you suggest Guyana approaches its own development of its natural gas?
So, as I would have stated at the panel discussion yesterday, Guyana is in a very unique position and privileged position. I think you all have done very well in terms of setting the framework and the fundamentals for a successful energy industry rather. So some of the key items that I would have alluded to include partnerships.
Yes.
The appropriate partnerships both with multinational companies as well as state entities to share expertise, to build, to provide capital, and also to provide markets for products. Those are the key things that you want when you're building an industry. And by developing the right partnerships, you're able to access that. But beyond that, what happens is that once you establish, that relationship, what happens is that there's a natural, growth of your own capacity. And ultimately, the goal is to transfer that knowledge and transfer that capacity to Guyana and the people of Guyana, so that in a short space of time, you don't really need that foreign expertise anymore, right? You're able to do it on your own. So that is the benefit of having those, those partnerships. But it's critical that a key component of that is really the technology and the knowledge transfer to build your own capacity as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Leaning on the experience of national energy now, how can Guyana ensure sustainable and environmentally responsible gas industry development?
And that in itself lends to the question of where we are now. From a global perspective, we are into a decarbonization drive.
Yes.
That is, throughout the entire world, most of the industries that are being developed, we are looking towards developing a low carbon initiative or decarbonizing existing energy processes. This is required for us to be able to access markets where there are premiums on carbon content. So particularly Europe, that we come in, with, cross-border adjustment mechanism, which would create higher prices for traditional products made primarily from fossil fuels. Now, Guyana is in a unique position to be able to benefit from being now in a position to build your industry. You have an opportunity to naturally building low carbon mechanisms as you develop your industries. So when you're developing your petrochemicals, when you're developing your metal processing, there is an opportunity now to incorporate a low carbon technology. And so the carbon footprint of the product already meets requirements for international export, which gives you a competitive advantage, right? So the fact that your industries are now being built gives you that opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Dr. Paltoo. Now, the theme of this year's conference is connecting the dots, integrating the future. And of course, success is something that it is multiplied 10 times fold when we partner, when we make those synergies with the right partners, in fact. Now, what can regional collaboration do for Guyana's ambition for gas development?
And I'm very passionate about that, Kiana, in terms of regional development and regional integration, because together we're much stronger when we work together and when we build things together. CARICOM as together has 20 million people and covers area all the way from Bermuda in the north to Suriname in the south, to Belize in the east, to Barbados in the west, right? That's a large area with 20 million people together. We can be so much stronger, and let me explain that. Energy security for the region means that we will be building something that puts us in a negotiating position where we can bargain as a region with the rest of the world and dictate the terms we want for our energy, right? Now, energy security in the future will come in an integrated form, simply because at present, the Caribbean has a unique offering. We can offer fossil fuels, traditional oil from Suriname and Guyana. We have gas, Suriname, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago, and we have a lot of potential for renewable energy across the other islands, right? So if we integrate this and provide one framework where we supply energy to the entire region, what happens is that we can transition to a low carbon environment at the same time by using, for example, gas as a transition fuel for power generation in the other islands. Same time, we use gas to make fertilizers that increase food production. With lower cost of power across the region, with access to food, food security and energy security goes hand in hand. When we have both food security and energy security as a region, we get economic prosperity because we depend on no one, right? So we can feed ourselves, we can provide the energy. Our import bills for the two most expensive commodities are reduced to almost zero. And so we become strong as a region. And that in itself drives economic prosperity. So from that perspective, we have an opportunity now to integrate, gas production and gas replacement. And gas is a transition fuel that we will use because to a great extent we consider gas a low carbon fuel already. So it is in fact what we deem a transition fuel. And by doing so, we are able to drive economic prosperity for the entire region. And I'm saying that because alone we can get success, right? But when we do it together, we become powerful, we become very powerful. So there's an opportunity here for, Guyana to play a key role in that future scenario.
Thank you, Dr. Paltoo. I want to close by just sharing briefly with our audience, what are some of the priorities for national energy for 2025?
Okay, so that's fairly straightforward and easy. Simply because continuing our mandate towards driving economic growth and prosperity, not just for Trinidad and Tobago, but for the region, right? So we want to build those partnerships. That is one of our priorities. And it's not Guyana alone. We are doing it with other islands in the Caribbean in terms of discussing cooperation on energy matters. So in addition to Guyana, we have Suriname, we have Barbados, we have Curacao, Dominican Republic, Cuba, all of those countries. We are engaged in discussions in terms of how we can cooperate. So that is one of our primary objectives. In addition to that, we are driving a continuous development of decarbonizing the energy industry, and natural gas plays an important role in that.
Right.
So that is also a priority for us. But more importantly, it is how it is that we bring benefit to the people of not just Trinidad and Tobago, of which we belong, but to the entire region. And as I said, together we are always stronger.
Indeed, we are. And that is certainly a message I know will resonate with our audience. Dr. Paltoo, I want to thank you once again for powering the Energy Perspectives podcast today with your insightful perspectives. Thank you so much. And we hope that you continue to enjoy the rest of the conference. Absolutely. And we look forward to engaging you as well. To our audience, thank you as always for joining us. Be sure to stay tuned as we bring you more insights from those thought leaders who are visiting here for the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo.
Thank you for listening to the Guyana Energy Perspectives podcast. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.